Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SavvyCast. This is Jamie, and I'm thrilled that you're here today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. I am here sitting right beside my dear friend, Chelsea Aldred. Chelsea is my neighbor. She's my friend, and she is very savvy. And I asked her to join me today because Chelsea has three children in school, and I've watched her over the course of the last year or so, and I'm so impressed with how on top of her family's diet and the foods that they eat. And it's not just when they're at home during the week, it's wherever they go, when they travel, when they're doing sports and so forth. So, Chelsea, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and Chelsea's husband, Justin Aldred, Dr. Justin Aldred, he's been on the SavvyCast twice,
Yeah.
and he is taking care of my daughter and will deliver my first grandchild.
Which is so exciting.
Oh, we're so excited. Justin's amazing too. So, okay, so y'all, Chelsea, I asked her to bring anything that might be helpful, like just to show those of you watching on YouTube, but she's got it going on. Her family eats very well. She's just very in the know. So, Chelsea, first, I have to ask you, what would you choose as your last meal?
I love seafood, so it'd have to be something seafood related, but I also love sweets. So I would be fine with just like a bunch of chocolate.
Yeah, because you might as well go
I
out
know,
with
like
chocolate.
it's just all the chocolate.
Yes, yes. Okay. Well, Chelsea, I know there are young moms, grandmoms out there who are like I was when I was a young mom or a mom with young
Yeah,
children. And now, as a soon to be grandmother, I want to always feed my children and my grandchildren the healthiest food, but sometimes time and distractions
hmm,
always would sort of make me default to something that was just quick, easy, and not the
for
healthiest.
sure.
So I know that you understand the busyness because you are very busy. You're involved in everything,
Hmm.
but you somehow managed to stay on top and take the reins with the diet. So tell me, first of all, how did you become so just savvy in this area? Was your mom this way?
So I feel like the biggest thing is efficiency and being resourceful. And one thing that my mom did a fantastic job of, we actually talked about it the other day, was making something out of nothing. Like if you looked in the
Mhm,
refrigerator, it looked like there was food,
mhm,
nothing in there, but then she would like whip something up. And so I feel like I have learned how to do that for the most part. And I think that one of the biggest things that I do when I meal plan weekly is look what I already have in my refrigerator and pantry and freezer. And mostly because it's space sensitive. I mean, you and I both have extra freezers and things like that, but with my husband as a hunter and we buy like our meat locally, and so that takes up a lot of our freezer
mhm,
space.
mhm.
But also the stuff is going to go bad if we don't use it, so it's just trying to use what we already have in the house, and it also saves money because we already bought it.
Okay, Chelsea, that really convicts me because I have two freezers full. And I went to Costco last week, and then I went to Sprouts and Trader Joe's a week ago.
Yeah,
You don't know what I had to throw out. Like,
to like
yes.
make room for it.
Yeah. Well, no, no, no. Well, it was all crammed
Yeah,
in the fridge,
yeah,
but a lot of it had expired because
yeah.
sometimes we don't realize a lot of the fresh produce
Stuff that we're buying for
it'll go
sure.
bad.
Yeah,
So that is a wonderful tip. Look at what you have in your
in
pantry
your
and your
pantry.
fridge. So
Yeah.
that's so resourceful. How does it look like, do you meal prep and menu plan every week, and how does that look?
Yes. So if it's just a normal week, I usually do it on Saturday morning and I use something similar to this. And I actually got this free with some sauces that I had ordered. But what I really
Oh,
like about it is it has the produce, and I know they have these on Amazon because that's what I used before I got this, but it has like the produce and the dairy. So that way you know which section that you're looking through.
this is your
And
shopping
then
list,
this
and
is
it's
my shopping list
categorized.
and it's
Mhm.
categorized. And then over here are the days of the week. So I will like name what meal that I'm gonna have.
Mhm.
if it's a specific cookbook, like I kind of have a code that I use and like the pages that I use. I also have a binder that has page protectors of recipes that we
Mm,
love.
mhm,
I print off lots of recipes, but if we don't like them, they go in the trash. But if I keep them, they'll go in the page protector, and then I'll kind of get those out as I'm making my list for the week. And then also the other thing I do is at the bottom of my weekly thing, I'll write like if somebody has practice, or if we have somewhere that we have to be, or if we have dinner with friends. And that way I know. So, like, if it's a practice night, then I know that I need something that's either easily transportable or
mhm,
something that can be reheated later.
mhm,
One thing we do a lot of in my house is called second dinner. And I love it because growing up, and I'm sure y'all did this too, when it felt like things weren't as busy as they are now, we always had meals together. And like, I vividly remember that. And my husband and I love that we all get to eat together, but with his schedule and the
mhm,
kids' schedule and everything like that. And so, one thing that we always do is even if we all are eating at different times in various different locations, we all come for the most part. We try to come and have whoever's eating at that house later. So, like, if I have two boys that do sports. So if one's at football and the other one's at football and they're practicing at different times, but then we all come together and you can have a snack or what we call second dinner or whatever it is. And you can sit there and we like debrief, talk about our day, highs and lows and things like that. And that way we're still eating together, but
mm.
we're not necessarily not eating because I don't want to eat at 8 p.m.
But you're gathering
But we're
everyone
still
around the
gathering.
table, and
Yes.
they can get a
Yes.
snack or just maybe a
And it may
protein
be the
shake.
first time that they ate. It just depends on, who's doing what and when they're doing it. So that's one thing that we love to
I
do as
love
a
that,
family.
gathering, just making sure you're around the table as
Yes,
much as
as much as
possible.
you can. Yeah, each night. And it's hard. It's hard for sure.
Yeah, it is, and as they get older, it's really hard. Okay, Chelsea, can we try to find something like this to link in
Yes.
show notes? Because, guys, this is like a calendar at a glance,
Mhm.
but it's everything meal planning at
Mhm.
a glance. This is very if I wish I had had that.
And one more note on this too, like I do a Walmart order on my phone, and then what I cannot get from Walmart, because you and I go to multiple grocery stores, that's just how we
Mhm.
are.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I actually write down. So like I'm building my Walmart cart, looking at my recipes and doing this all at the same time. And it sounds really overwhelming, but it really only takes me like 15 or 20 minutes.
Because you're doing this on a Saturday
Because I'm
morning.
usually doing it on a Saturday morning, and I'll do pickup for the next day. And sometimes, like, if it's crazy, I'll do it Sunday morning, go to church, do a Walmart pickup, or we have Walmart Plus, so we'll get
Mhm,
Walmart to bring it to us,
mhm.
if we're in a bind, especially if we're out of town too.
Right. So you're filling all this out Saturday morning. Do you
Yes.
ever get everything on Saturday, or do you pretty much get everything and prep everything on
I'm
Sunday?
usually doing it on Sunday,
Yeah.
like Sunday
Yeah.
afternoons. And it just depends on because like during baseball season, everything is on Saturday for the most part. And sometimes
Oh,
on Sunday.
okay.
So it's easier to like when I wake up, because I usually wake up an hour or two before the kids wake up, I can
Mhm.
do it all and finish it all before they even like wake up
Oh,
and move
yeah.
on.
Well, and the point is that you have a system and it works for you. Someone else might want to meal prep on Monday
100%.
and
Yeah.
do all this over the weekend, but this you have a system, and so it's just autopilot.
Yes. And I think like as you talk about too, you have to find what works for you or it'll never stick. So like if
Right.
Saturdays and Sundays are always crazy, or if you're somebody that works on a Saturday or Sunday or your spouse works, so you're doing full-time caregiving, like that
Mhm.
may not be your day. I'm a morning person, so I want to do it in the morning, but if you're a night owl and you want to do it at midnight, that may work for you. But
Right.
I think it's making a system to put in place that you will use and
Absolutely.
cater it to you.
I totally agree. Okay. Now, let's talk, and I'm going to let you guide this because you've got so many ideas, but
Okay.
I want to first of all ask you about just the basic day to day. The kids are in school, and Justin, whether he's on call or his normal work,
Mhm.
what you send for their lunches.
Okay. So I make bread like Jamie and I love doing it and it's not for everybody. And my kids actually don't love the bread that I make, their sandwich bread. They love the other breads that
They
we
love
eat
the
with like
first bread I
soups and
taught
all
you.
the other stuff. Yeah, the
Yeah.
potato flakes.
The potato plate that's all
Um,
sugar. Uh-huh.
so there's one called Barely Organic. I'll make sure that we have it so that we can link at least a picture of
Okay.
it. And it's from Sprouts. I buy 2 loaves a week. That's what my kids eat. It literally has 5 or 6 ingredients in it. It's
Oh,
really
and they
good
like it?
and they like it. And it's a white bread, which I'm bending to the knee, whatever they'll
Mhm.
eat, that's like
Mhm.
somewhat somewhat healthy. So I do that. And then I buy turkey meat. That's like one of their favorites. I
Mhm.
get it from Costco. It's antibiotic and organic, antibiotic free and organic at Costco. The best price. Bobby Flay loves it.
I
He's talked
saw
about
Cloud
it.
City talk about that. It was
Yes.
just on sale, and he
Mhm.
said it was just clean
It
as
is
could be.
the best turkey, and it actually, like, tastes good.
Does it?
Yes,
And
it's
how
really good.
long once you open that, because it's Costco and I've never gotten it,
Yes.
is it like you
So,
have to eat it like in a few
you
days?
probably have to eat, like, as you're opening it, I would say within 5 to 6 days, but I think you could freeze the other ones. I mean, I've freezed deli meat before and eaten it after.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I also buy some of those same brands at, like, Sprouts. Even Target has them, and Target has some of the ones that are good quality, like
Mhm.
no nitrates,
Mhm.
that are organic, and they're, like, in family packs. So,
Like
I mean,
Applegate
yeah, like
Farms?
Applegate
Okay.
Farms, there's a few
Mhm.
other ones, Organic Valley or something like
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Anyway, and so that, and then they love chips. Of course, who doesn't love a chip?
Yeah.
So we usually do like Siete, Lesser Evil has popcorn. They also have these like space balls that the kids like.
Mhm.
Made Good is another brand that they really like. Those are
Yes.
their little treats. So they
Yeah.
have Rice Krispie treats,
And no seed oils in
no
any
seed
of that.
oils in any of it.
And we're gonna list, guys, we will
Yes,
list
I have a
all
list
of
of
these
stuff.
things that Chelsea's mentioning. I wanna mention one other that,
Yeah.
I know Bobby Parrish has talked about, and they actually sent me some, and I can't wait to try it. One Mighty Meal
Okay. I
is
haven't seen
supposed.
them. Yeah.
Well, they're not around
Oh,
here,
okay.
or at least that I found, but he said they're great, and they've sent some, so I'll let y'all try that too, because it's clean, and if you're not gonna make your own bread,
Then I think like
the
you've
fir
gotta have
you
something.
gotta have
Yeah.
some, because bread, is
I know,
essential.
and it's so gross that it stays
I
it
know,
stays good for, like, 4 weeks.
I know.
And then
So
I'm trying to think what else. I love desserts, so I home make a lot of desserts, so I'll throw in little things in there. We also like Unreal, I'm sure you've seen them, they're like little Reese's Cups that have,
oh,
like, little
those are
mini
so good.
Snickers. They're so good,
Oh my
and
goodness, they're
so
so
I'll
good.
throw in little
Mhm,
treats like that, and then I always do, like, mini carrots, mine eat hummus,
mhm.
fresh fruit. I always try to put in fresh fruit. And my daughter only likes 4 things literally. So she gets like a pepperoni or a chomped beef stick in hers. And she also just likes yogurt and granola. So I'll just send
Oh,
that.
so what are there brands that you recommend for those out there who are
The
really wanting?
yogurts are harder because I
Mhm,
would buy a big tub,
mhm,
like if it were just me. And I
mhm,
do buy the ones at Costco, the ones that Bobby says to buy because they're the
mhm.
best ones. Like the Costco brand one is really good.
Oh, is
It's
it?
a whole fat Greek yogurt and it's like super high in protein. But my kids need something that they can grab and go because
So
of
you buy
the
prepackaged?
quantity. So
Yes.
mine are like
Mhm.
prepackaged. They don't know like what 1 cup is as far as serving. So
Oh,
like
and he
they
wants
need
to
to be
fill
able to,
with
yeah,
that and have
especially at
another
6 in the
container.
morning. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
I think there's several brands. The biggest thing I would look for is what they're sweetening with, the sugar in it, because that is a lot of sugar in yogurt.
Mhm.
But also if they're willing to eat it, those are kind of corners. Like if they're high protein and they're good ingredients and it's higher in sugar, I'm willing to still send it with them.
Do your kids or Justin, do they eat cottage cheese?
Yes, and we love good culture.
How
Not the
oh, good
kids. The
culture, I'm
kids do
telling
not, but Justin and I both eat it.
you. Okay. Okay. Well, so those are great suggestions, and that sounds like a typical child's, preference
Lunch.
for
Mhm,
lunch.
mhm.
And I'm sure Justin will eat all that
Oh,
too.
he will. Yep,
Okay.
100%.
So how do you pack that? Do you pack it ahead, or the kids pack their own? How do you make mornings out the door easy?
Easy. So I wake up usually around 5 and I
Mhm.
have like quiet time and just
Mhm.
debrief and everything
Mhm.
like that and have coffee. And then I go in the kitchen and then I food prep. I start getting food ready for breakfast. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and I fully believe it because I have one kid that eats at 10:30 and I have another kid that eats like 12:30. So like if they're not eating like really
You mean at
good
school?
quality food, right? They don't eat lunch until like
Oh.
one eats at 10:35 and then I have another kid that eats at like 12:30.
Oh
So
boy.
I do like
Mhm.
full breakfast. Like I do like full eggs. And if I'm in a hurry, we do boiled eggs instead.
Mhm.
I try to have some kind of protein, just like you do with like sausage and bacon that you cook ahead of time.
Mhm.
I just have it in my refrigerator and we just like reheat it and have it for that.
So
But
when they wake up, you've got a protein laden breakfast
mhm,
ready
we
for
try to
them.
do, yeah.
And you do that every morning.
Yeah,
Kudos.
every
Okay.
morning. And I
Yeah.
didn't do it for the longest time, but I also feel like we all need it. Like I wake up and my body is like ready to eat. And not everybody is a breakfast person.
Mhm.
And my daughter is not. And so sometimes she'll only eat a half a bagel, but I make sure that she has eggs with it or something like that.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
Dave's bagels are the only bagels that my kids will eat. And
Dave's
so
Killer Bread.
Dave's Killer
Mhm.
Bread, they
Which
have
that's
bagels.
everywhere.
Yes, you can buy that anywhere. And then they also like the raisin bread. And then mine will eat my bread. Like mine will eat my sourdough and they'll also eat my potato flake if I have that. So
Mhm.
it just gives us several options. But as far as like lunch prepping, I do everything the day of because my husband says that it's disgusting when it sits overnight in the refrigerator, which I
Oh,
agree. But I
okay. Well,
was like, okay, whatever you say.
oh goodness. So he can tell a difference?
I guess he can. I don't know. I mean, the kids don't really care, but then I'm also thinking about the one whose lunch is sitting in there till 12:30. So I'm like,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
it's fresher.
Oh, me. Okay, so that's their lunches. And what do they carry? Do they carry paper sacks? I always sent paper sacks and
They have like the lunch boxes with the little coolie things in there. And then
okay.
I have several reusable things, and I can link them on the Amazon. One of them I want to say is from a Shark Tank one, and it is
Oh.
like a
Oh, let
silicone.
me hold that up.
It has
That's
I'm gonna talk
silicone.
about these too, but it has a silicone inside, and then the outside of it is
Liner.
plastic, and it like snaps together, and it makes it so it's easier to clean than like a reusable bag, if
Oh,
that
can
makes
you
sense.
find
So it's
those?
open, and I'll
Okay.
show them. Those are on Amazon, and then I use reusable bags when I can. But I mean, I'm practical, and we use plastic sometimes too. I mean, you
Okay.
just have
Do
to.
your kids remember to bring everything home?
Yes, they're actually really good.
Okay.
Yeah. And I try to get like little stainless steel things. I'll make like these little like pizza Lunchables, and it's just like your own stuff. Like you pack your own pepperonis, your own little
Ooh.
sauce, and your own little things. And they like that. But this is one thing that I brought, and that comes probably like in an 8 to 12 pack.
Okay, so podcast people, what we're holding up, and I have these. They're
Yes,
awesome.
they're awesome.
And we'll link to these because mine came off Amazon.
Yeah, I think that's where they come from. I mean, they're basically like what would you
They're muffin cups, but
Yes.
they're made of this flexible, washable silicone, and you can do anything. You can put nuts in them.
Yes.
You can put.
So I
So what
make
do you
like a
do with it?
charcuterie board for my daughter. And so like in a container, which I don't send this specifically, this is more ball filled that I brought, but you could put and podcast people that are listening, I
Mhm.
have just a glass container that's
Mhm.
divided and you can put as many as you
Oh,
want.
makes your
So you're gonna
dividers.
make your divider. So I have 4 in the largest one. So like let's say at the ball field, I pack like chicken salad. I can have like the chicken salad in here, and then I can have like hummus and carrots and crackers and nuts.
That is so
So
savvy.
you're making like your own
Yes.
charcuterie. And my daughter does this. I have a plastic one of these, just like kind of like a bento box, essentially what you're making. And I didn't want to buy a bento box because I had some other stuff at home that she could
Mhm.
use.
Right.
And I even use these in like the old school plastic containers that where you
Oh,
just put
yeah.
4 of them in there. And
Yes.
so this is just really easy. And she's not eating more than a few bites of anything anyway.
Yeah.
So this is plenty of food for her.
This is so neat. Now, you still have to either put something on top of it or make
Yes.
sure it's
Yeah.
upright or
Yes.
everything would spill
It would
out.
all
But
spill out. And hers, the way hers is it has like the handles at the top. It's not one that would be like
oh,
sideways or like
okay.
laying down. But yes, I agree. And her one that she has, the lid is a lot closer than this specific
So
one.
it's
So
like
it actually like keeps things in theory
okay.
where they're supposed to be. But yeah,
Okay. So make your own bento box.
yes.
And so we have lunches covered.
Mhm.
Anything else on lunches?
Not that I can think of. They're really hungry when they get home, so I try to have, like, fresh fruit that I've prepped, and I just, like, pull it out. I'll go ahead and, like, peel a couple clementines. I'll cut
Mm-hmm.
up apples because 'cause I'm sure kid or moms that have littles and grandparents, when you sit the stuff out, they're gonna eat it. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll have,
Mm-hmm.
like, carrots set out and just, like, different options set out, and it's not all the time. I mean, sometimes one comes in the door, I'm dealing with an issue with the other kid, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
taking one to tumbling and one comes in and
Yeah.
I see him for 5 minutes. But that's another thing, is like to have the pantry filled with stuff.
Mhm.
And we've talked about, and I know Ellie's talked about it too. And obviously, Ellie and them
My
don't have
daughter
their,
Ellie,
sorry, her
that's been
daughter
on
Ellie.
here,
Yeah, she's been on here and
yeah,
she's talked about food, and they don't have a child yet, but I mean, you hear it all the time, like they're going to eat what they're served.
that's right.
And my kids know that, like, I am setting them up for success. We
Mhm.
have cheat dates. Like, my kids are not deprived. We go to birthday parties. And although I will say, like, either a sweet drink or cake, or something like that, it's like showing that they can have choices, because we as adults have choices too.
Mhm.
But I'm having the good quality stuff. And if there's something that they don't like, I don't buy it again, and I just try to find a different alternative.
Right.
But still has good quality. Anything that we eat and we did as kids, they have better quality stuff out
Oh
there.
my
It's just like
goodness.
us having to make the effort to go and do it. And Costco, I've been so impressed with lately,
Yes.
with a lot of their stuff. And like, my kids know, they call it mom approved. Like, they're like,
Mm,
oh, it's a mom approved snack, and
yeah,
things like that. And we joke about it. But when they go to other people's houses, I don't regulate what they eat. Like, they're
right. You're
allowed to go.
balanced.
But
Yeah.
I will say that mine know, like, my daughter the other day, she had a stomach ache, and I was like, could it have been some of the stuff that you chose, to eat? Because
Yeah.
when we feel bad, a lot of times we can link it back
Oh,
to
sure.
not having good nourishing things that don't make us feel good.
Well, I'm telling you, you're so right that the choices today, I'm surprised
Yeah,
one
they're
of my
endless.
girls did not turn into a goldfish. We had
Goldfish
or their peers, all of the kids in their
Yeah.
generation.
Yes.
And when I
Goldfish.
say it wasn't a little serving,
Mhm.
it was the biggest bag of
Yes.
goldfish you've ever seen. That's what kids
Mhm.
and my kids,
Yes,
when
we
they're
ate. I know.
goldfish
And like
and
fruit roll-ups.
oh,
I think about those
yes.
now, which my
And
daughter
juice
loves, and
boxes.
juice boxes. My daughter loves gummies, and we have a few different gummy options. They have them at Costco, and
Mhm,
they're really good. So it's like, but you have to know, and that's one thing I love about Bobby's
mhm,
app, and there's that Yuka app. Like, there's lots of options. And once you know what you're looking for and like what not to look for, it doesn't
mhm.
take you as long. So it feels really
Right,
daunting at first.
right.
And neither of us are saying go through your pantry and like throw everything away.
Mhm.
I always am like, okay, once this is gone, what's a better alternative we can replace it with?
Oh,
Because I feel
yes.
like that's so much more savvy and
Yes,
realistic
then
than
just
like throwing everything out.
right, and I sort of that's me. But I oh,
Not
yeah.
to call you out.
No, no, no. Yeah, but I just feel a sense of relief when like, you should see my fridge, it's so clean right
Yeah,
now.
I know,
But
and it feels good, and then you can see everything. That's the other thing. If you have so much
yeah,
stuff, you can't see what you have.
but to your point, if you plan wisely, that doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
that's true. That's
And
true.
so many of my things were expired. So another thing to do is just go through your spices, go through
Mhm,
your condiments, go through anything that might have an expiration date, which
mhm.
most things
So I
do,
think so too. Yeah,
and toss it.
and
But
toss it.
okay, so wow, so this is great. So what
Do
else?
you want to move on to like ball field or sporting
Okay, ball
events?
field, tumbling,
Yes,
gymnastics,
indoor, outdoor.
anything, indoor, outdoor. But when you are at sports, how do you feed them well? Where they're not running to the concession stand or
Right,
whatever.
or drive-throughs or whatever.
Oh, right, right.
So I would say, because I planned it on my meal thing, I have it available in my kitchen, which is literally half the
Oh,
battle.
yes.
And so I would say, for the most part, the main things I do is I have the containers, like I have the glass containers with the varying little dividers. Another one of my favorite things is, I'm pretty sure this is just from Walmart, but it's basically like a bowl, like a soup bowl, and it has a handle
Oh my
and
goodness.
I can't even get it open because it's sealed so well. And it's just a stainless steel soup bowl
That
with a
is
top.
so, and it
So
keeps
it's
it.
gonna keep it warm. So I'll put it in there warm, and then it has like a vent and everything if you need it. And I would think, in theory, it would keep anything cold too. I mean,
Well,
anything in there
yeah,
that you would want if you'd want it
we're
cold.
gonna link to this, guys.
Yes, and
So
that's from Walmart, but we can find different things. And I have a friend who, when she packs hers, she has one that has like several different containers, and they kind of like it's the same concept, but they stack on top of each other. And I loved hers, but my kids are bigger and they eat larger
Right,
portions. So
right,
this I'm having to do something more like this instead.
right.
The other thing is, and I ordered these from Amazon. It came in a 2-pack. It's Pyrex. You could obviously get whatever brand you want, but it's like a coulis or a hot little pad. So I just will get whatever kind of like lunchbox, anything that you already have. And this is actually for like casserole dishes, but I
Mm-hmm.
put this inside. So if I want it to be warm, I'll put this in there and then this in the
How do you
lunchbox.
warm that in the microwave?
Yes, and you just warm it up in the microwave. And
And
I
you,
think
or
you
you put it in the
get,
freezer
or
or
you can put
fridge?
it in the freezer.
Okay.
And then you can, I think you get like 7 to 10 uses out of these. I mean, it's a decent amount.
Oh,
If you
it's a
heat,
hot, cold pack.
yes, it's a hot cold pack. So
Okay.
you can use it for either one. And that way it keeps our stuff hot if we're having like soups and stuff like that. And I would only use this for like dinners. I wouldn't use this for like an all day event in the hot mode, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing I would say is something like this, depending on, and this is also from Amazon, so we can link it.
My goodness.
So when we go to baseball tournaments, we're there all day. So like we're eating at home, and then we are packing up the cooler, and I have to have lunch and dinner for all 5 of us. And so
Oh,
I love, yeah,
are
for
you
all 5 of us.
serious?
Yeah, because we're all eating and we're all eating both meals. So I do let my kids go to the concession stand and get like a sweet treat. Or
Mm-hmm.
if they ate their sandwich and they want like French fries, they can go and get French fries or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But I try to have like the food available.
Okay, y'all, let me
Yeah,
tell.
this is like the best thing ever.
Okay, for the podcast
Yes.
piece, this, now you might describe it better. It's like a clear acrylic box, and inside are these little compartments. It looks like a tackle box.
It does look like a
divi-
tackle box. Yeah.
Oh, I think
Mhm.
I've seen this like
You
on
probably have.
Instagram.
And it has little handles so you can like stick it in the bottom of your cooler and pull it out. But when you go to the ball field, you're not feeding just your children.
Oh,
You're
yes.
always feeding, and your snacks are better than the pack that somebody else packed.
Yeah.
As I'm sure y'all all
And I'm
know.
sure everybody's coming to you.
Well, yeah, because they love all the things. And so in here, you can do like those little Baby Bell cheeses. You can do, like you said, like the goldfish or the alternative. You can do gummies. You can do different kind of fruits. You can do vegetables, like literally anything. So this would be more of like a snack option when
Okay.
you're at the ball field. And then your dinners can be, I always put them in glass
Mm-hmm.
or the silicone things for my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things, honestly, to bring to the ball field is like a chicken salad. Because
Yes, that's so easy.
my three of us out of the 5 of us will eat it. Then I can make little, I mean, you can always do like roll-ups and tortillas. It doesn't have to just be a boring sandwich. Like you can kind of like get a little creative. And then my daughter loves pimento cheese. So I'll make her little bento box, and then she gets pimento cheese. So, and I also like another thing that mine love are sweets, because when you go there, you can buy like all kinds of stuff from the concession stands. So I will pack like our own suckers, that Yum Earth brand. I've even gotten them from TJ Maxx on the aisles with
Yum
their
Earth.
food.
I've
Yum
never
Earth.
seen. What are they made
They
of?
have it's basically just like a sucker with fruit juices instead of like dyes
Oh,
and sugar.
okay.
And then there's one called Smart Sweet, and those are like your Sour Patch Kids and like your peach rounds that everybody loved from
Okay.
like gas stations. And so just like various things that they all love to have. And all the kids love them too. So you have to get enough to share.
Mm-hmm.
But just like with your meals weekly, you've got to plan for those days. And like there
Yeah.
are times where we have to go somewhere else to get food. Like we'll go to lunch if we have this like really long break. So then I don't have to pack that, but I always have snacks and stuff availavailable for the kids so that they're
Okay.
not wandering around wanting
That's
to go to
true.
the concession stand.
That's true. And that will cost too.
A fortune.
A Coke is $3,
Yes,
$4.
yes,
Oh,
for
okay.
sure.
Okay. So that is a novel idea. And Chelsea, what are some other, okay, you've said that almost any unhealthy thing, there's a
As an
healthier.
alternative.
And I
Mhm.
will say, because we've mentioned goldfish several
Yes.
times, Annie's Organics, I
Mhm.
think has a goldfish option that
Yes.
I think is help.
Mhm.
I'm sure
It's
healthier.
healthier. Yep.
And any other brands you can think of?
Good, Made Good, Lesser Evil, Siete. Those are the ones that I wrote down.
Yeah.
And then candies are like Yum Earth,
Mhm.
Unreal, Smarts, Smart Sweet, and then also JoJo's is really good. You can get that
Yes.
from
JoJo's
Costco,
is
and it's a
awesome.
sweet story too. Like
It is a sweet
that as
story.
well.
I wanna have the JoJo's
Person
person
on
on because JoJo's is chocolate. It's
hmm
almost always at
Costco.
Costco. It's delicious, and it's
It's
like the
yummy.
finest,
hmm
and I
Good
think he
quality.
founded that because his mom, who had cancer, that's all she could eat or
And she
whatever,
loves sweets, and
and
so
she
and
loves
of
sweet.
course, like
Yeah.
cancer can you
Yeah.
shouldn't have a lot of sugar
But
when you're
JoJo's
fighting
is a
it.
great
Yeah.
brand. So, okay. Well, Chelsea, was there any other tip, trick, or hack
I
that
think the last thing that we had that we were going to talk about was travel. So do you
Oh,
want to touch on that
yes.
just real quick?
Yes.
So I would say one of my hacks that I do is I grocery shop and meal plan before I go there. Now, a lot of times the grocery stores are a lot more expensive. So that's like one of the main
When you
reasons why
travel?
when you travel,
Yes, uh-huh.
especially if you're going to like 30A. I mean, think
Oh,
about like their grocery
yes.
stores
Mhm,
compared.
mhm.
So I get a big clear bucket that I keep in my attic, and I fill the clear bucket up with pantry items. So anything that we would snack, any kind of breakfast item, breads, I mean, coffee,
Lesser evil
lesser evil
popcorn.
I mean, anything that we would snack and that would fit in a pantry for the most part,
Okay,
we're gonna
okay.
put in there. And then, like, if we end up making like pizza one night, I could already have the prepackaged like
Mhm.
pizza sauce or whatever it is that we choose,
Okay.
because we'll do that sometimes. And then the other thing I do is I pack a cooler, and I always try to make it until the next day, because when we travel, a lot of times we'll come in like later in the afternoon. Well, we want to wake up and have coffee and breakfast. So those are
Right.
like my two main. So even if you're not packing for the entire week, because like at the beach, you can't necessarily pack
Mm-mm.
for the whole week for everything. But I do try to get us to like a day to a day and a half. So in the cooler, I'll pack like half and half, and
Mhm.
yogurts and things like that, like butters, because we love our
Mm,
Kerrygold butter
mhm.
and things like that, that I know that some grocery stores may not have. Like, if one time we went to see the Biltmore for spring break one year, and we were in this like really small town, and the grocery store literally had nothing.
Mm.
So I was so thankful, and we were on a mountain, and the
Oh, good.
and
Yeah.
the restaurant was closed that night.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like I was so thankful that I had food
Mhm.
to have available. And so I would say having a cooler, knowing that kind of thing. And then one thing that Justin and I do is, there's lots of food options, but one place that we love is Kava, and it's local, but it's
Yes.
also a chain.
Mhm.
So when and all of our kids like it too. And that's hard for us to find,
Mhm.
a place
Let
that
me
everybody loves.
explain to people who may not, it's Kava.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And
No,
actually,
CAVA. Sorry.
oh, that's
Yeah.
right, CAVA, and I believe it's a franchise, and I think people independently own
I
them
think that's
across
correct.
the because John Casimus, who the Zoe's,
Oh,
he,
yeah, he go.
he
Okay. I didn't know
brought the
that.
ones here to
Got it.
Birmingham, and I just had a discussion about that. It is like what would you go through the line and you pick, you might have a salad or a
Yes.
bowl with Brussels sprout, with
Yes.
healthy, with,
hmm
hummus, chicken.
It's a
How would you
spin on Mediterranean, and it's similar to like your chains, like Chopped is very similar.
Yes.
COPT, I think is the way they
Mhm.
pronounce it. So it's like a build your own is the
Mhm.
best way I would
Yes,
describe it.
yes.
But I do know that like the ingredients are somewhat fresh,
Mhm.
and they make their sauces and their dressings and things
Mhm.
like that. And it's a
Mhm.
better alternative to like fried food going through
Sure.
a drive through.
Mhm.
So I will say, like, so when we're traveling, we try to like navigate. And I know Chipotle, my family doesn't love Chipotle, but I know that that's a good fast
Yeah.
food option.
Moe's
Moe's
can be a
even. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's some you just have to pick, like what your family will eat. But anyway, I say that like when we know the route that we're going, we
Mhm.
will be like, hey, we know there's a Kava in Knoxville, so let's
Oh,
stop
yeah.
there for lunch,
Mhm.
and then we can go ahead and eat it and on our way. I did a girls trip, and on the way home, we packed our lunches. So we stopped by Starbucks to go to the bathroom, got like a sweet little treat, like a
Mhm.
tea, and
Yeah.
then ate our lunch in the car.
Oh,
So
that's so
there's
smart.
lots of options that you could do, because a lot of times when you go new places, you don't know like
Oh,
where
yeah.
you're going to go, what you're going to stop, and and I just feel like if you have a plan, that's the theme, I guess, of this whole
Have
thing,
a
is like if
plan
you have a
and
plan
plan ahead.
and plan ahead,
Mhm.
then you're not going to run into this where it's like we're in a time crunch, everybody's hangry,
Mhm.
and then you have to go through the drive through, and then everybody feels bad after
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
end up eating. So
I would love to know if because we're big on protein bars. Do you have to do protein bars?
I don't love protein bars.
Okay.
But and
Well,
I've
you do
heard lots
chomps.
of
That's
them.
a good.
Yeah, like, I've heard that people love them, but I guess, like, for the most part, and granted, the caveat to all this is I do not work outside the home. So, like, I can eat a regular meal at home. I'm not,
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
having to pack and
Right.
do things like that. So, I would much rather have, like, real food. Same thing, like, I love a smoothie and a protein smoothie, but I'd mother rather have, like, real food. Much
Mhm.
rather. So I don't love protein bars, but I think they're great. I think it's hard to find good quality ones because I think they're chock full of junk.
Mhm. Yeah, there are, let's
Really
see.
very few. I've heard Built is really good, but I don't know personally.
I know Built it has got to be good because Peachy Spoon,
Yeah, she likes
Peachy
them.
likes
Yes, there's
it,
a few
and
other ones.
I love her smoothie protein powder. Now, see, I'm one. I'd rather grab a smoothie and go.
Yeah,
It's funny how we're all
it is.
different.
Yeah.
I want it quick and out there, but I'm all over the map. But I'm gonna recommend, let's see, True Vonnie. It's
Yes,
plant-based
hers are
protein.
good.
She's
And I
plain
had
as
them
a
at your
whistle.
house. And
Hmm.
the one, what did we like? Was it is it the chocolate one?
Yeah, there's a chocolate something, but anything
And it
True
was good.
Vonnie, it will be
It's gonna be
plant-based,
good.
but grab and go. And
Yeah.
then Zane and I are loving this one bar, and it's Reese's Cups.
Oh, I bet that's yummy.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just anything like that, even if it's not optimal, it's gonna be better.
It's still better
A
than
convenience store is
mhm.
from the pit of
No, it
where.
is. I
I'm
mean,
telling
you
you, they're
cannot
gonna
go
get
in
honey
there.
buns.
Yes.
They're like
Mhm,
Zane,
mhm.
I make sure I pack because if his weakness, he'll go get a honey bun.
Yeah. And my husband too, like, when he goes out hunting for the day, like,
Mhm.
I send him with food
Right, because if left
because
to their
I
own,
know.
it's
Yeah.
hard to make a good
Yep.
choice. So this is so Chelsea, and all your little
Yep.
supplies,
We're
and
gonna find all the links to it
I
so
mean
that way people
this,
can get them quickly.
yeah, this is great, and your people are happy.
And everybody's happy for the most part. They get
Happy
upset
and
with
healthy.
me. They get upset with me sometimes, but I always tell them that I'm just doing what's best for them. And I think at the end of the day, and you and I talk about this too, this is not a diet. Like, it's a
Mm-mm.
lifestyle
Lifestyle.
and it is very thought consuming. And
Mhm.
so, but once you get like in the groove and you figure out what works, then you can start branching out, trying new cookbooks and trying new recipes. And like, I love your stuff. Like, one of my favorite things that you do is like your rice in the oven. I was like, it's
That's
life
that's that's
changing.
Marie Marino's rice, and
Yes.
she's a good one. All
Yeah,
her
so
stuff is
it's
good.
like
So, yeah.
finding
Mhm.
people that
Right,
like you like
right,
their same stuff and then
right.
using it and trial and error. I think the biggest thing is like to give yourself grace. My husband would tell you, and he never says anything bad about me, but he's like, your cooking at the very beginning was,
Oh, yeah.
but and
Same
you
here.
and I've talked about this too, like with when you're first getting married and you're cooking for families and all that, like it's hard. And you have to figure out what works for you. And there were times where I had like a breastfed baby that was drinking on me. Then I
Mhm.
had toddlers at my feet. And then I'm like sitting here trying to cook.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that it's nourishing and filling enough. And
Mhm.
so I think like to give yourself grace and to realize
Oh,
that in every
yes,
season
yes,
that you
yes.
go through, you're going to be able to do more things and try new things. And I think it's like be okay to fail. Like, I'm
Mhm.
not very good at this, but I think like trying new recipes, we've had some recently and the kids were like, this is not very good. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, we'll never make it again.
Right.
But we all ate tonight and we have full bellies. And like,
Yes,
at the end of the
yes.
day.
And, just, my 3 probably ate 1,000 lunches full of goldfish, and they turned out
100%. And we
great.
turned out okay. And that's what I think too.
And I
And I
never
always
would
say,
remember how I ate growing up.
no,
Oh my
literally,
stars.
I think about that too, but I'm like, the next
But
day is a new day.
that's
You can
right.
like start over because we're always going to like fall into traps and do things. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And be
Yep.
unprepared for that week or have a really busy time at work or, whatever. But
Mhm.
like the next day, try again and do
Yeah.
something, the next best thing the next day.
Yes, and I will toss in one thing that's super easy, and I know you probably do this too. I always bake extra potatoes,
Hmm.
and usually I do chili when I make baked potatoes, and that is an
Hmm.
easy, and you can actually take that to school. Well, do they have microwaves? Is that
They
how they?
won't let them.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
Justin could, he could take it to work with
Yeah.
him. I could eat it the next day. And
Yes.
those super cubes, do you have those
I
really
have
quick? Those,
super SOUPER super
yes, and
cubes.
they were
Mhm.
also Shark Tank, and it's a family-owned business, and they're amazing too. Because my son loves spaghetti, and during the summer, they want hot meals. Well, I'm not making 3 hot meals a day. I'm just not
Oh,
doing it. And
mm-mm.
so I will, like, do chili or spaghetti and those one little things, and it fits into the saucepan, and it's
Mhm.
perfect.
You freeze it,
Yes, and then I freeze it, and
and you
it's
just pop it out.
I
Oh,
pop it out and keep it in Ziploc bags.
oh, and then, like, if so this is dinner, so one of yours
Yeah, or lunch.
wants
If somebody wants spaghetti for lunch, I'm like,
okay,
"There's
that's a
your
very
spaghetti
handy,
with your
very,
super cubes."
very
So
handy.
cute.
Okay, Chelsea, thank you. This was so
You're
I learned so much, so many things that you have available today. Like, I don't think we had a lot of this back 30
yeah,
years
you're probably having to
ago.
do more
Well, my kids are
DIY.
my oldest are 27. So 20 years ago, we had, I don't know if bento boxes were,
They probably
I don't
weren't.
know, but
Yeah.
you have a lot of great handy dandy tools, and we're gonna link to all of this. And as always, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Check out the show notes, and until next time, you have a fabulous rest of your day. Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the SavvyCast. If you'll take the time to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, that would mean so much. As always, thank you for listening and have a blessed day.